Well, good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up those football. Wake up. There you go. Wake up there. Man, hope you guys tune in tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. We got a lot to talk about. One thing that's been bugging me before I get on to Dan Quinn is Adam Gase. How is it Adam Gase is now going to be interviewing for offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks? You got rid of Brian Schottenheimer, who the Seattle Seahawks offense literally was one of the best offenses in football. I can understand if you got rid of the defense coordinator. The offense, with the exception of that first playoff game, was pretty good. Adam Gase, for some reason, people think that he's an offensive guru. Are you kidding me? But anyway, I'll deal with that later. Right now, I'm going to be dealing with our Dallas Cowboys. Last year, about this time last year, we were thinking about, Mike McCarthy. He was putting together a staff of coaches and stuff. We were looking around, and I'll be honest, I got fooled. I was thinking having the coaches with so much experience around the NFL and a lot of them having been former head coaches, that they would bring, a worldview, so to speak, from the NFL. Different pieces that you could take a little piece over here of what we did that was good and take a piece from over here, and where you could take the sum and make it greater than the parts. Well, it seems like that didn't quite work, with Mike Nolan and the defense. And I'm not going to put it all on Mike Nolan. I think the players in there had a role with it. I think bringing in some of the free agents with the short window had a role to play with that. I believe trying to do too many things without enough time to implement it just didn't work. But be that as it may, we're starting over again with Dan Quinn. Now, Dan Quinn, a lot of people will knock him and say, well, hey, look what happened with Atlanta Falcons. He ended up messing up with the Atlanta Falcons, and they went to the Super Bowl, and they gave up the biggest lead ever. And I say, hello, at least they went to the Super Bowl. I'd take that. I'd take them going to the Super Bowl and getting their ass handed to them. I'd be okay with that the way we've been. But if Adam Gase could end up being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins for 3 years, see that team just go down the toilet, then get to be the head coach and GM of the Jets, and literally see them worst team in the NFL, for him to then be possibly the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, how can you look down at Dan Quinn? How can you possibly look down at Dan Quinn? Sorry, you can't. So today, Dan Quinn was on John Machada had posted this tweet earlier today, basically giving you some of the highlights of what Dan Quinn said on a Pro Football Focus NFL podcast. I like what I've been hearing. I posted a video from Dan Quinn talking after they won the Super Bowl. Something he kept repeating in that clip was, we like to play fast and physical. Fast and physical. That's what, fast and physical. You may make a mistake, but at least make it at full speed. Don't hesitate and make a mistake, okay? That just makes the mistake even worse. But basically, here's the summation of it. Number one is making sure that we create identity defensively of physicality, speed, and relentless effort. Those are the things you want everybody always to see us playing. Yes. And those are some of the things that we did not see a lot of times. A lot of times when guys were tackling, it seemed kind of lackadaisical, that they'd go ahead and get carried downfield, like they were playing not to get hurt. A lot of times you saw guys not give full effort, and even some of them admit that nobody gives 100% effort all the time. So from what you're saying to me right now, you're speaking to me. And let's go on, and I'm going to read, and forgive me, I'm not the greatest of readers, okay? I am a guy that speaks off the top of my head. I don't read from charts or anything like that. I don't have notes. When I sit here, I just sit here, and whatever's on my mind is going to spit out, and I will make mistakes from time to time. When I was in my workshop, I meant Dan Quinn, and somehow I said Mike Nolan. Forgive me. You know what I was meaning, or I hope you know what I was meaning. Understand that it's a one take and gone. So anyway, let's go on through here and analyze the other things that he said. I love that we're talking about being fast and physical as opposed to not giving 100% and being soft. You don't really have a sense when you're going somewhere of what a team has. That's kind of what my challenge is now. Making sure I get a chance to watch everybody on tape, get a chance to see what their strengths are, and see if we can put guys in spots, know how to feature them. Think of players like first over the scheme part of it. Okay, so if I'm analyzing this correctly, he's basically saying we need to watch film on the players and find out what guys are good at. You know, D-Law is actually a pretty good run stopper. He's a good edge rusher and things like that. Okay, you understand some guys are better at the run versus the pass and so forth. Okay, you need to find out if guys are a better zone defender or if he's a better man-on-man. So I get what he's saying here. I need to figure out what we have currently here in the cabinet before I start cooking dinner. There will certainly be guidelines to what you want the guys to fit into, but more than anything, what you have and have to feature guys will drive a little bit of how you can play. So you may want to be, a team that can go man to man, have a shutdown corner, but if you don't have a shutdown corner, it doesn't work. So what he's saying is we have to figure out what we have. Ideally, we have in our mind what we want to be, but if we can't be that, then we have to dictate what we can do, which is key. So many times Jason Garrett would always say, it's not what we do here. It's not the way we do things. Well, I understand what you're saying, but you have to be able to adapt to the players you have on the field. You took a guy like Rico, and I hate to keep always referring back to Rico, but I think Rico could have been a pretty good tight end had they focused him on more of being a pass-catching tight end. Instead of saying, you know what, you're really good at catching the ball. You're kind of lean for a tight end that needs to block. Let's make some packages where we can feature you as a red zone threat. Go to the pylon, and I need you to stay there. And when the ball comes, we're going to throw it up high, and we want you to jump up and come down with it. And use that to your advantage. Instead, we said, no, we don't need that skill. We need you to put on weight. We need you to be a blocker. And he became an okay blocker, but not as good as a catcher as he was. But because he ended up focusing on that, what he did good was lost, and hence no longer in the league. Scheme-wise, everybody has enough defense and flexibility to last for a while. It's about putting guys into the best spots. Also having guys that can play significant roles and do certain things really, really well. That's why I'm looking forward to getting our chance to visit and see these players and find out all the unique stuff they have. When you're going into a new place, you want to find what some of the strengths are in terms of the current thing. For me, I had some time, unfortunately, to look at the long, big history of things that I also liked. What needed to change and what would be some of those things. I don't know if modernizing is the word or tweak or just to the same or just so the system could have a different look to it. It'll certainly be part of the system. And there are some other coaches here and some things that I want to implement. Number one, create the identity where guys can play fast. I think every really good defense, that has to be part of it. And an aggressive front, and they play that way. Have an aggressive front and play that way. That, to me, is where it all starts. Looking forward to digging in on all those topics, but at the end of the day, how much you play of one thing or another, that depends on the players. Well, that's very, again, you may want to be a team that likes to blitz a lot. But if you don't have the players that can get there, you're going to get burned. And he can recognizes that. So I kind of like hearing what I'm hearing from him, the fast and physical, being aggressive, and building an identity. I honestly can't say that the Cowboys defense has truly had a leader over the last couple of years, or that they've really had an identity. I don't know what you can look at and say, yeah, that's the Dallas Cowboys thing. It'll be interesting to see what that identity becomes. I hope that it is one mean-ass defensive front. A bunch of guys that are going to come there and knock your block off. You start with that, and I guarantee you, just from that alone, that aggression and aggressive style that he's talking about, that this defense will improve. As I watched New Orleans defense and Tampa Bay's defense last night, I was seeing guys that were flying to the ball, that were hitting, that were delivering a blow. Things I did not see with our Dallas Cowboys defense very often. And I hope we can find that identity and that we can turn this thing around. Because make no mistakes about it, I don't care what quarterback you put up in here. Be it Dak gets re-signed, you trade for Deshaun Watson, hell, you bring in old-ass Tom Brady. If you do not get that defense together, flying like a bunch of crazed dogs, it ain't going to matter. But we'll go into this a little bit more tonight during our live stream, 9 o'clock Eastern. Hope you guys will tune in. We'll definitely be covering everything that is the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Mark Holmes, and as always, I appreciate you.